advise you to go ahead and like the video. Leave me a comment and let me know that you have been enjoying not only this video, but also just the videos of the past week as well. So, with no further ado, let's go ahead. I want to get right into the reading. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is the practice makes perfect card, the working card, the mastery card. So right now you have you're in a time of working on your skills and developing yourself, being very diligent about what you care about, and like being a craftsman. A craftsman is not just somebody who like builds something, builds furniture, or puts together furniture, but a craftsman is like someone who takes time on the details and really cares about the small things and is very focused. So practice makes perfect. Hard work always pays off. So what areas do I need to focus on in order to reach my goals? This is earth energy as well, so you may be in dealing with or working with earth signs as well. But let's go ahead and see what is the energy just surrounding you, especially with the bottom of that card, just giving you that energy of working on things you care about, and focusing on things you care about. I love that one. That was good. Okay, let's go ahead and see. Hello in the chat. So the first card came out as, this kind of actually is in the reverse, the Hierophant in the reverse, but I'll flip it around just to, get the energy off of it, the wisdom as well. But in the reverse, just coming out like that is letting you know that you're going against like traditions, and even though it says conformity here and conformity there, this side, the reversal side, should really be non-conformity, and just creating your own morality, your own ethics, not going against other people's, but focusing on what you feel led. So it says tradition is the wisdom of the ancestors. So not just totally going against tradition just to be against anything, but also creating tradition. So it's not just going against traditions just because you want to be like an anarchist or something, but creating new traditions that are more viable. Like, of course, your ancestors' traditions, they may not be the best thing for you, especially because of the fact that you live in a different time from your ancestors. So the things that they found to be the best version for them is not necessarily for you. And the number 5 is a number that symbolizes change. The number 5 talks about change. So when you're looking at change, like, what change do you want to make from your ancestors? What change can you do to amplify the work that they did, or see it in a better light, in a different light, and things of that nature? Even when you looked at the Eight of Pentacles that was at the bottom of the deck, these two cards together is like what you're working on, what you're crafting, that craftsmanship, what you're building is, it has principles of tradition. It has principles of something very like old fashioned, one could say, but it's using that guidance from like the wisdom of your ancestors and things of that nature, rather than just getting it from anywhere. Like, it's a spiritual, it's like a more intrinsic feeling that you are using to create traditions or continue traditions in that energy. So that's the energy that you are within right now. The energy of creating, maybe going against the grain, and not being held down on what society totally work that you are doing or wanting to do, and maybe you need to work in a more traditional way in order to, reap a certain amount of rewards in a traditional sense. Like if you want external values, or if you want external rewards, you have to act in a way of, a more traditional sense. So obviously in the new age you can do whatever you feel and make money from it, but there is a certain amount of traditional things that you have to do in order, for people not to just respect you, but in the energy of, understanding and, being able to support you in a real way. So it does require, a basis of what the public understands. Like you can't just do something way out there that nobody understands. You do have to bring it down to a level that anybody and everybody could understand, because that's who your target audience is a lot of the times, like normal people. So let's see what opportunities is going to come to you, even when you're walking this path of, creating your own traditions and balancing that with the traditions of your ancestors, with the wisdom of your ancestors, I would say, even. So the card that came out is the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is all about that nostalgia as well. I think that these two are like, getting you to tap into the things that maybe you found fun, the things that interest you in your childhood, when you were more innocent, when we all were more innocent, because we didn't know, the ways of the world, and you're looking at 5 and 6 on like two different, levels, so you can definitely see how, synchronicities and things come into play for you. But in this energy, you are, the best way to predict your future is to create it. Love and the reconciliation is on the horizon. So I think this goes really hand in hand, like I was saying before, in that energy of just, creating what you want to see. Is not bad to have, tradition as a basis for, what you want, but you also have to make sense. It's a glare, but that's okay. You also have to, make sense of the present, in a different way, not just all traditional, but using that nostalgia to tap into a different part of your brain and creativity, and then using that in a totally different way. So it's not bad to look back at your childhood, or look back at just the wisdom of the past, in order to have a different future and to create a better and brighter future, like it says here, and it says, will there be an opportunity to reconnect with someone from the past? That's a question that you can ask yourself, or even it could be mentioning just your ancestors when it was saying, how do you find spiritual guidance and mentorship? You could be looking for that wisdom by actually speaking to the people that are alive, or just by asking spiritually to connect with that, and like learning. You could be reading books, or just right, maybe you're watching ancestor readings. I do have some on the channel, just to see what type of wisdom that they have for you. And like I said, I think next week I will do more general readings, just so that can be energy that is tapped into and not just left behind for anybody. So, and also when you're looking at the Six of Cups, it's talking about generosity. So being overflowing with so much blessings that you're able to like give, like you see this person on the Six of Cups, they're able to like give away and give generously because they're not afraid of scarcity. So that is, just another type of energy that you can walk within, that gives you your own, like, that makes you turn away from fear. You understand what I mean? So that's your opportunity, to walk in abundance, to, use your childhood and your nostalgia in order to connect with people in a traditional way, but also add some like flair, where there's something different about, like, maybe you have those old TV shows that you watch, but you want to like do something with them, like analyze them maybe in a different way, or let people look at what we were watching as kids and like analyzing it from our adult way, like something in that nature, or just understanding it differently. Let's see, what are your action steps in order to just use this and be successful in your own way with your own right? What can you do to be just successful? And tie in the traditions and the nostalgia of the past, but also walking into your future and creating an abundant future. What is like the energy for this one? Let's get your third card. I like that you may be seeing 565 or something like that. So what you have now is the death card. The death card is telling you all about transitions that you're making, like endings, so that you can have that new beginning. So without the death, there's no birth, right? So we have 13, which actually comes to the number 4, and is water as well. So remember, there's always a new beginning after the end. That's like one of my favorites. If you watch my readings religiously, you know that I am the third person who, when the number 9 comes up or the number 10, it's all about ending and then going to a higher cycle. So even when your life ends, I definitely believe that as well. You're ending this life in order to enter a higher cycle, like your ancestors once did. They left this physical plane and left you behind here, but it is so that they can transition in order they can transition to a higher plane and help you in that different regard. So endings, transformations, and changes, it's not just a bad thing, or the death card is not just a bad thing for no reason. There's rebirths that happen with death. So after death there's life again, always. And the dates here of the 20th of October to the 21st of November. This is I feel like the only reading where I had 2 cards giving dates. So this one and the April 21st to the 20th of May. So what I'm getting is like what you do around this time of the 21st of April to the 20th of May will really crop back up. Like the ending of this cycle at the 20th of May is going to show up again with that death and that rebirth energy around the 20th of October to the 21st of November. So being in that energy of what you do now, like how you start a race is how you finish a race. So if you haven't yet begun to act out the things that you have desired, or you may have been using ideas or coming up with ideas, trying to find your own way in something, it is important like how you act around the time of the 20th of April, going on to that energy, going into that energy, how you act then, like I said, it'll show up again. So acting in your best and highest ways at all times is so important, but especially during the times where you're seeing like the same cycles are happening again and again. So we have 4, 5, 6. You may be seeing repetitive numbers in a sequence. So not just random numbers, but numbers in a sequence. So 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. But right here, you definitely have 4, 5, 6. So let's see, what is the outcome when you're acting in your highest self? Also, the question on the death card is, what endings are necessary for new beginnings? So at the bottom, as your outcome, what you have is moving on. You are moving on and moving away from stagnation and holding on to the past in a negative way. So even when you look at, you have a lot of talk about the past, tradition, and you're not throwing away the past or throwing away the traditions and the wisdoms that come with that, but you're looking at it, analyzing it, and using the lessons that are beneficial to you. So how you have 6 of Swords, and he's like transitioning away and moving on and traveling from the past, in order to further personal growth and just moving on and situations, but it says move on from the past and journey towards a brighter future. That's what the Six of Swords is all about. Also, we have two sixes, so you may be seeing, a sequence of these numbers multiplying in your life, but letting you know that five is about change. So the number six is, making that transition, not being afraid of moving on. So when five comes up, it's telling you, look, there is a big change happening. Get ready for it. Also that four is gearing you up because like in the whirlwind of like 4, 5, 6, that is transition numbers of you moving on to your higher self. So that when you reach the number seven, which is closer to being deep in strategy. And also, funnily enough, at the bottom of the deck, you have the, Seven of Swords. Like I said, talking about strategy and, being not just sneaky, but using your intellect to outwit opponents. But you must also be aware of dishonesty and betrayal. So you understand that in this transition phase, you are just transitioning to a higher energy of life. Like the higher levels that you move on, you have to move in a different way. You have to move with more intellect. You have to, really be smart about what you're allowing into your life at this moment as well. Like I said, when you move on to higher levels, when you finally figure out who you are, what you stand for, you've made that transition. You're not resistant to change. You welcome change. You start to move in life at a higher level, if you'll believe it. Dang, you look at the seven of swords here, and then the Eight of Pentacles comes back out for you, letting you know that that's what's here for you. Moving, and not also just moving, but finding that rest and meditation within that as well. So obviously we just had that blood moon, which obviously I looked at last night. The moon, it was so big and bright, very big. So that energy is still permeating. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the Moonology deck. And at the bottom of that is it, a time of healing. So maybe you're healing things from the past, healing old limitations, healing old deficiencies like the lack of focus, or settling for, mediocre things that you don't actually want. So the Eight of Pentacles also talks about, in the reverse, it talks about shadow work. So you're not just working in the physical, because hard work is important, but you also have to work out the kinks mentally first about what causes you to procrastinate. It's not just laziness, it's a mental block sometimes. So let's get a clarifier for the Five of, oh no, I was in the Five of Hierophants, but just the Hierophant. Wow, it says your commitment is being tested. Your commitment is being tested. Your commitment and your value to yourself, to the things that you value, all these things is very important. So I also look at that Eight of Pentacles energy about commitment, being committed to your craft, being committed to the things that you just set out to do and be in life, being very diligent. So working hard and working diligently for yourself is one of your best and most highest things that you can do. So making sure that you are, when you're being tested, you are focused and you are acting in the highest way. Like I said, when you start to change and you go through these transitions and you decide to move on from your childish ways of procrastination into being more diligent and being committed to yourself and your own goals, you're playing at a higher level. You're playing in the levels of the 7, the 8, and the 9, which is the ending, but getting you back to a new beginning. So let's go ahead and see for the Six of Cups. So it says, don't let your past hold you back. Don't let your past hold you back. So I think there's definitely a thin line between, um, looking at the past for its wisdom and, maybe taking the traditions that worked or the traditions that made you feel nostalgic with the um, Six of Cups here, but also, not being so trapped in the energy of the past that you become stagnant or that you can't release the emotional baggage or that you're not moving on. So the Six of Cups in reverse talks about the inability to move on. Also, that um, the Six of Swords as well talks about, the resistance to change and the resistance to making the transition. So, with all of the amazing things that's coming to you, with you being dedicated and you committing to yourself, when the higher things of life start to come to you, you have to continue to be committed and don't, self sabotage. Sometimes people do that, they get a high level of accomplishment, but they feel unworthy, and that's just a mental blockage. So, here's like to you snipping out, snipping and cutting. Okay, any mental baggage, anything that says that you're not worthy, anything that says that you have to hold on to the past and is creating a shadow. And we're gonna cut all that out right now. So let's go ahead and get one for the death card right here. Which also everything in here is pointing to change. The Hierophant talks about tradition, but like I said, it came out in the reverse in the beginning as well. So letting you know that change is here, and don't be afraid to take the lead in the authority. We also have this card. Look at the bigger picture. So even when people get the death card, sometimes they'll feel upset or like, what does this mean? What does this mean? It's calling you to look at the bigger picture. So, like I said, death is ultimately what leads to rebirth, and rebirth is like a higher level. That's why I keep talking about higher levels and transitioning, because like I said, even in the physical, when you pass on, you're just transitioning to another dimension, a higher dimension than one that you're on right now. I full-heartedly believe that whatever you think that looks like for you is what it will look like, but this is definitely the energy of, leaving behind something old, something, and, moving on to the things that are more important, that are higher for you as well. So looking at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. I think the date on this one as well was like around that, getting around that time of, the Sagittarius. So watch out for that, Sagittarius season, or maybe you're, dealing with Sagittarius in some way as well. But this is South Node. But let's get one more card for this Six of Swords that is telling you that it is okay to change and move on. Progress is always personal. Progress is your ultimate, the ultimate thing that everybody is looking forward to. Everybody's looking towards doing so. Alright, the last card you have is actually the New Moon and the Scorpio. And it says, work through your fears. Work through your fears. Wow. All of this is very powerful because, your fears is what's holding you back, holding you to the past. Like we cut that out just a moment ago. But, the ability to use your own strategy, to, outwit anything that you may be dealing with, the ability to, rest when you need to rest, and not be afraid of, the abundance and the creative things that are coming towards you, and understanding that it does take a lot of planning, in order to have progress and to have, an abundant life at the end. At higher levels, there is a certain amount of legacy and security that comes with, planning and being imbalanced. It's not just about, working just to get to a point in the future. It's really about, sustaining something, growing something so that it can be viable, not just for yourself, but for future generations. That's what the 10 of Ten of Pentacles talks about, future generations and legacy and the type of things that you'll leave behind, not just physically, but what people will say about you. So maybe you are creating new traditions within your family, for like a better legacy, or for the children, who are coming after you, so that they don't feel like persecuted or anything like that, but making sure that you're holding the vision. This was the card that, is here for you. And, being sure that you are, paying attention ultimately to what you feel is right, and using that internal compass as, your guidance. This was what the, Hierophant talks about as well. Spiritual guidance, and the most spiritual things that you think come from within. That's where a lot of your wisdom lies. So you don't have to rely on the world to tell you or to make you spiritual or not. You are intrinsically, and you just amplify that for yourself. So thank you so much to all of my water sign divine dreamers for enjoying today's video. Remember to like the page. Remember to like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to support the channel, I will be putting links in the description, just to support through Patreon or through like buying a coffee, whatever. It doesn't matter, but the best thing that you could do is, if you want to see more videos like this, make sure that you like the video. It's free. It's a thumbs up. And yes, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, peace, peace.